Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about high volume and whether high volume is a more advanced technique or whether it's just a different technique altogether. And if you're hearing like static or something like that, that's not static, it's actually just raindrops hitting the leaves here because we're finally getting some rain here in BC, so thank God for that because it's cleaning up a lot of the smoke that was in the air, so you couldn't even go outside. It was so bad because of the Oregon fires and the cowardly idiots that are rioting down in Oregon, those idiots lighting shit on fire and whatever. Yeah, I'd like to light you guys on fire. The bottom line is that our entire air supply has been like messed up, and let's just say I might be taking my truck somewhere and I might be dropping some more people off on the mountain. And these are a different type of trolls. They're the idiot people that are riding and saying, hey, I'm gonna light a fire just to make a point about global warming when, yeah, you're actually causing the problem. You're not solving anything, idiot. Enough with the political commentary. Today I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about volume. And I just had somebody message me and they say, Jason, I noticed that you have workout programs, and I'm assuming your 2-day split, the A program and B program, are for more beginners because they're not high volume workouts. And basically what I responded was, high volume doesn't necessarily mean more advanced. High volume a lot of times is a technique, first of all, to stimulate the muscle in a certain way, but too much volume can also take you into the endurance category. And once you start endurance training, you're not necessarily bodybuilding anymore, and you're not necessarily building muscle. You're starting to move into just burning energy for the sake of energy itself, which I've talked about before. So advanced programs are intense, and there are different ways to be intense. Sometimes it's through cumulative stimulus over a long period of time. That can be a form of intensity. So say you're training a body part today, now you're training it again tomorrow, now you're training again the next day. Even if you're doing low volume, that can have a more intense effect on the body than say doing one big workout and then not touching that body part again for a week or something. So this is the thing, you have to understand that there are different forms of intensity, and volume can be one. I'm not saying it can't, but it's not necessarily a sign that a program is more advanced as opposed to another. The truth is, any program you do, if you're using weight that's challenging for you, it can be a challenge, it can be intense, and it can be advanced, right? So say you're doing 5 sets as a beginner and you're working with a certain weight and you're doing 15 reps, and then 10 years down the road you're working with a weight that's 100 pounds heavier but the same rep range for the same amount of sets. That is more intense, right? You're able to move more poundage, you're able to do more work. The muscle is actually working harder. So this is still going to have a profound effect on the system. And some people, I'm not saying this is totally true or not, because I think it'll be different depending on the person, but some people do believe that once you get stronger, your volume actually has to go down because you are now able to lift a lot more weight, do a lot more muscular damage to a lot more muscles, a lot more muscle fibers are getting damaged, and therefore the organ systems and the immune system, which is pretty much the same size, they don't normally grow in size, and they have to deal with a lot larger amount of damage or muscular damage in order to heal the system, right? So because of this, some people say that once you're stronger, your volume can actually go down. And a high volume workout might be detrimental to you. Now, I know this goes against what some of the pros might be doing in bodybuilding, whatever, but this might also explain why they're doing a lot of rest days in between body parts in some cases when they're doing 25 sets for a body part, right? So I feel the best policy is to feel your way through this and see what is right for you, but don't prejudge something based on something that was taught to you into your mind that isn't necessarily your experience. That's really my point, because a lot of people read stuff. Like I just had somebody ask me, real nice guy, he just said, hey, you just mentioned that pec insertion thing where if the pec insertion is different on the humerus, it may change how much contractile strength has to go through the pec in order to move the arm across. This is simple physics. I mean, everybody sat on a teeter-totter, right? Have you ever sat on a teeter-totter? Right? The center of the teeter-totter's here, and then you get the stick across going both ways. Have you ever tried to sit closer to the middle of the teeter-totter? And all of a sudden now, if you and your buddy were the exact same weight and you sit closer to the center, now all of a sudden you're getting popped up like crazy, and no matter how much you try, you cannot get your friend to move upwards, right? because you're closer to the center of the fulcrum. Well, it's the same thing with tendon insertions. But say this is the center, the pivot point of the force, and the force is being exacted on this area. If you lift closer to that force, it'll be easier to create an effect. Or if you try to lift over here closer to the pivot point, it'll be a lot harder, right? You'll have to exert a lot more force in order to lift or to go against this force that's over here. So based on this, it's very simple physics, right? Just grab a stick, any stick, and then, you know, say it's a stick like this, put your hand halfway down, try to lift the stick up and down, no problem. Now put this palm closer to this palm, and now try to lift the stick, a lot more weight. It'll take a lot more force to lift that stick. So it's the same thing when it comes down to tendon insertion. So what I'm saying is, somebody was asking me, Jason, where did you read that? You know, how did you acquire this information? It's just simple experience. Like, when you experience things, you will know stuff. Try not to think about stuff and read stuff. Try to experience stuff more and use anything you read as an excuse to experience more deeply. That's going to save you a lot of effort and a lot of being ensnared in dogma and BS that does not apply to you. And there are going to be some simple rules which seem to apply to everybody, but in general, you have to really experience stuff in order to know the truth. And we are in this day and age where people don't experience things. They think they can read about something and that's the same as experiencing it. It is not even close. This is where wisdom is developed. Wisdom only comes from experiencing. That's it. Wisdom doesn't come from people just talking about stuff. I know this is going to be earth-shattering for some of you, especially you younger dudes out there. You're probably going to be like, well, no, I read a lot of things. I pretty much know everything. No, I'm going to tell you right now, reading about a punch in the face is just not the same as experiencing one. 100%. So seeing as we are dealing with the physicality, the physical body, I'm going to stress to you that when you're in the gym and you're squatting and you're doing things, no matter what you read about it, that stuff might be helpful, but in the end, the experience itself taught you a lot of subtleties that you would never have been aware of if you did not actually go and take action and perform the movement yourself, right? So everybody knows this to a point, but there are subtle ways where you may get trapped into a certain way of thinking that I'm trying to free you from, so that way you can go into the realm of experience and experience safely and conduct your own experiments and find out what really works. So again, I'm going to come back around to this. High volume or intensity of weight or whatever is not necessarily a sign of a more advanced program, although it has been touted as that. And yeah, it can be extremely intense in a different way, but there are different ways to intensify your workout. And one is holistic or cumulative stress on the system, or cumulative intensity, such as higher frequency training, or other ones could be something like the high volume approach in one workout where you need more rest, but you're basically just pounding the crap out of a muscle for a couple hours, right? That has never been a system that works for me. That has never been a system I've seen work too often, although I do notice that people who have a tendency to have more fast twitch fibers and stuff may benefit from a training system where they have more days off. I'm not necessarily saying they need more volume, but they do seem to have a more extreme amount of muscular damage from the same amount of volume as somebody who has more endurance fibers. Ironically, sometimes the person who has more endurance fibers, who doesn't have as much of an affinity for bodybuilding, they might actually need to do more volume in order to establish enough damage for the body to say, hey, I need to get stronger, or I need to basically grow more muscle. So again, always dependent on the situation. I hope this helps you understand that, hey, higher volume isn't necessarily more advanced, but at the same time, it might be. Hopefully I didn't confuse you more. In the end, I guess my videos are just pointing towards the fact that you're gonna have to try things yourself and find out. So anyway, I hope this helps out in your training, or maybe it didn't. And thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now. Mountain. Oh yeah, and this is the other new shirt I got. It's the ring t-shirt, and yeah, you can get this at naturalgallantbodybuilding.com if you want. You don't have to, but if you want to get it, you don't have to represent. You know what I'm saying? But you will notice that I'm not making masks on my website. You'll notice that I'm not jumping on that pansy-ass mask trend. Make a buck and sell your soul? No, that's not what the mountain does. Mountain.